Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Shred and Soul.
I'm Shred, aka Kevin Wood.
And I'm Soul, aka Wind Hughes. We're happy to be back as we are every week. It's just wonderful to hang out with all of you and to share this little bit of time that we get to. And we've had a blast this week because, as you know, if you were a part of last week's episode, it's been Kevin's birthday celebration since the 16th. And we're just about winding down. Maybe tonight's the last night, do you think?
Maybe.
Or the end of the weekend?
I guess it depends on what you have planned.
I don't know if I have anything in particular planned, but
I think
something fun.
Winding down to the end of the celebration.
Well, you'll be happy because we're going to Kimberly's to watch the Seahawks game on Sunday.
Yeah, get to see an out-of-network game.
Yeah, you don't get to see the Seahawks games very often.
No, I don't pay for the package.
Yeah.
It's just... Plus, we have a good team around here. The Niners are good, and
they're doing well.
That was a real close one last night.
It was a fun game for those of you who watched it. And we're getting ready to have Skylar Wolf back on with the 5-minute sports update because things are happening and basketball is about to start, and that's my favorite. It'll be coming soon, and I just love watching the basketball games, at least watching the Warrior games.
Yeah, go Warriors.
Go Warriors. And go Niners right now. But yeah, you'll get to see the Seahawks.
Go Hawks too, though.
Yeah, go Hawks.
We don't have to limit ourselves to only rooting for one team.
Well, you always root for both.
Well, yeah, it depends on what team's doing better. If I want to see a team go to the stretch, or go the distance, I should say, and they look like they can, I'll root for them.
Well, you feel that way sometimes in one game.
Yeah, I change my allegiances pretty quick with the games that I don't really like either team, or I like both teams. It's just fun to watch a good game.
Fun. Sort of the buzzword of today. So since we've had a fun week, we know how this world can be so challenging and looking at what's going on out in the world, but we're not doing that today. We are going to just be in a good place, a positive place, and once again, we're going to be looking at some of the good in the world. And we've done an episode before looking at things that are happening in the world that are very positive and productive, because we don't hear about that very often. We hear all the terrible stuff going on, and that's just a piece of what's happening in our reality. So we're going to do that. It'll be an update on what's good in the world. And then after that, I'm going to lead a 5-minute mindfulness exercise so we can look at how 5 minutes a day can change how we feel in our lives. So I guess I'm first, right? With the good news. Good news episode. Okay. Good news number 1. And it seems that so much of the good news seems to be in Nordic countries like Sweden, Denmark, doesn't it?
Seems like it.
They're progressive.
They're on the forefront of doing cool things sometimes.
And we have something from Japan too. So anyway, Sweden has set a nationwide mobile phone ban in schools and in clubs starting in 2026. And it's really interesting because they've dabbled with this before, and now it's going to be a complete ban in schools and in clubs so that they could create a safer learning environment, reduce social media influx into the day, and to help children focus. And these are for kids between the age of 7 and 16. So I guess after 16 you can have your phone. It doesn't quite say that. But they're talking about... And not only Sweden, but some of the other Nordic countries and European countries are moving in that direction. I sure wish we would, of tightening the rules around access to phones and social media. So some information is Denmark, who has banned certain aspects before, they're recommending that children under 13 avoid personal smartphones or tablets. Parents out there, did you hear that? Children under 13 should have limited access to smartphones, tablets, and things of that nature.
But that doesn't mean they can never see one. I mean, when they're at home or, playing around or teaching themselves some cool stuff.
Yeah,
or,
but it's limited access.
Yeah.
And, compared to the hours per day that children in this country, teens in this country, tend to be on social media, and adults.
Not just kids, so
adults
everybody.
too, right? Is really, really significant to acknowledge that it's not necessarily a healthy thing, and to actually mandate some guidelines around that.
You know, I'm predicting a pushback in the future. I think there's going to be a generation, or part of a generation, that's going to say, hey, you know what? I'm sick of this. I don't want to do this anymore. And it'll be cool not to do it. You know, I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody else being, you know, with my nose on the phone, especially if I'm all by myself or in a situation where I have some free time, waiting in a doctor's office, or
voluntarily restrict their time on the phone. I think that might be happening already.
Because look at, you know, what Sweden's already saying, hey, maybe we should make it a rule, you know. But I think here in the United States, that might not be able to, you know, take place. You know, parents have a lot of anxiety over their kids not being able to connect to them.
I mean, during the day?
During the day.
Well, you know, I understand that too. And kids in our family and their parents, the same thing. And reality is we didn't have that. No. It's easy for someone to go into the office and have all the emergency numbers of the family members and the parents in an emergency, call them. And I know that with, you know, kids that I see as clients and family members, a lot of what they're doing with those phones are texting each other or social media. And Norway has said it's restricting the minimum age of 15 for social media accounts. And that went into effect in 2023. So in Norway, if you're under 15, you cannot get on social media. And I like that.
That's a pretty good idea, especially
you think so?
Yeah, social media is such a time suck. You know, the dopamine hit that you get when somebody likes what you put up there is pretty extreme, really. And for kids, they just love that. I mean, everyone loves it. And so, when there's work to be done or studying to do or a mind focused on something constructive.
Well, I also, for me, think, the amount of time we spend on it distracts us from other things. And it also becomes a way of life, something we use as a way of connecting and relating. And I'd rather see all of us get off of our phones and social media and just hang out together, talk, interact, touch, celebrate.
Subscribe to Shred and Soul.
Subscribe to Shred and Soul only if you're over 15, right? Let's see, what else?
If you're in Norway and you're over 15.
They did a study in the Netherlands, and they discovered that 75% of secondary schools reported that students found it easier to concentrate when they did not allow cell phones, social media to be used in the classroom. And it's an interesting reality since so many of subjects now are taught on the computer. I know when I talk to my granddaughter, who's in 7th grade, I'll ask her about it, and she says, no, we're on the computer. And so all of their assignments are done on the computer. The discussion's pretty much on the computer.
Well, the computer is a medium. It's, in the old days, we had paper and pencils, and paper and pens, or typewriters, or, you know, so it's a tool for learning.
I loved taking my assignment and bringing it to the teacher and looking at her or him in the eye and proudly handing him my paper. There was that moment. And maybe for some kids it was here.
Yeah, on the bottom of the stack.
Like hide it. But I think that the social interaction is critical for discussion, and to see that all of learning, a lot of learning, and that's not even considering AI right now, is a little concerning to me. So I like that they're seeing an increase in focus, and another study talked about grades and productivity increasing as well. So I'd love to hear what you think about that, your children's time on social media. And I know that it's very challenging for me. We'll go into a restaurant or somewhere and see a 2-year-old sitting there on a tablet.
Not doing anything but just playing with it. You know, it's like giving cartoons. The kid a coloring book, maybe. You know, and keep the kid busy while we're having a lunch discussion. I don't know. Kids can be pretty demanding.
I think a lot of the kids, though, are on cartoons and shows. They're not necessarily doing, some of them are an educational task. Coloring's a creative task.
Yeah.
And you can talk to each other while you're coloring. It's a very Zen-like exercise of creativity. Kappa is a little different. So those are just some thoughts of one good news happening in Sweden and Denmark and the Netherlands and some European countries. I'd like to see some of that happen here. And your thoughts would be appreciated.
You know, we definitely are a society with the ability to choose. And I think that we have, since the early days, a real pushback reaction towards the government telling us anything, you know? And what I'd like to talk about next is something that I'm reading. California takes bold steps to remove ultra-processed foods from school meals. Now, my knee-jerk reaction is that, oh, California, huh? Well, are they going to tell us what to do? And what corrupt government official is going to take kickbacks from what food industry to leave theirs on the list of approved foods? I digress. It's actually a good thing to remove these things from our food. And this is just for school meals. School meals, they're subsidized by the government, and they're a godsend for so many people. And it's only fair that when we feed the kids at school, and we all pay for this, you know, our property taxes all go to this kind of thing. And we need to agree that, yes, we don't want to just put anything into the bellies of our kids. And so I give California kudos on doing this. So
Can you talk a bit about what's being banned? Because California now has mandated, which I love, free meals at school for everyone. Now, what are the items that will be banned?
Here's what they say. Ultra-processed foods. Now, ultra-processed foods are typically high in fats, sugars, starches, and additives, harmful colorings, other addictive substances, things that just make you sick. They include everyday items like soda, chips, sweetened yogurts, and even packaged breads. And these foods make up about 73% of the U.S. food supply. That's across the board. That's just not in school lunches. I mean...
75% for all food that U.S. citizens eat.
Yeah.
The average person.
I mean, if you really want to make a difference, and we can trust our government to do it, like some laws against all of it across the board would be nice. Or, you know, if everyone was cool and the people who produced foods were on the same page as everybody else, and let's make everybody healthy without legislation, now we'd be getting somewhere. But kudos to California for taking the leading edge on this. This was put in place in 2022. This is before Kennedy became the health secretary.
Well, I thought that was when the food became free.
Well, that too.
This ban was initiated then?
They started drawing it up. They haven't made it a law yet. But
I think they're just waiting for the governor's signature.
Yeah, the governor's signature. You know, we're making baby steps towards this. And I think that inspiring 20 other states to consider it, that looks good on paper. But, you know, I'd really like to feel good about this being common knowledge. And, you know, educating ourselves on nutrition and staying away from harmful foods is something that we all need to learn about. And maybe we'll teach that to the kids while they're off their cell phones.
And I think you raised something that is a question of, you know, where does the government have the right to mandate what we do or eat or drink? And what this, I think, is looking at, which brings me to another thing, which is, do they allow food stamps, or do they allow subsidized food now to buy processed things like this and sodas? But when you're looking at where does the federal dollar go, I don't like government mandating what we do. That being said, I do feel that the government has to represent what's best for the people. And what's best for us as a people is to have adequate food, good, not even adequate, excellent food, excellent water, excellent health care, excellent shelter, all of our basic needs met in as quality, not just, crappy fast food. So this represents to me, in an idealistic way, the government setting the example that our children's well-being and health is foremost. At least they do that in this way with food. I don't think the educational system does that all the way around, but this is a positive day.
Right. It's definitely a step in the right direction.
It's positive.
It's possible, too.
Yeah. And so, speaking of a step in the right direction, next feel-good good news story is... that's California. It's the living rooftops, but this is living bus stops. And I was really it's interesting to me to see this because when I lived in New Mexico, there were a lot of living roofs, and some people don't know what they are. So it basically is a garden that's planted on a rooftop. And a lot of people will do those and cover them with flowers or just greenery. But a lot in New Mexico in the Southwest, with all that sunshine, people grew food on their rooftops. And I think that's more common than, say, a bus stop. So the living roofs to me has always been a very interesting thing and such a smart idea. Buildings in New York have living roofs in the sense of growing up there, but think of food production. This is about bus stops. And again, we're looking at our Nordic friends, though this is happening now and growing in Boston and other areas as well. But the Netherlands is very much pushing these living roofs at bus stations. And what they're doing is they're taking the bus station shelters, they're making sure that they can hold the weight of soil and water from the watering, and they are covering them with wildflowers, native grasses, and succulents. And what they're wanting to do is bring greenery into the urban setting to remind people of the beauty of nature, but also they show that cities that have a large amount of greenery growing on the roofs have a temperature in the average of 20 degrees cooler in the summer. So that has a cooling effect, and I think that has to do with photosynthesis and what happens within the plants, the chemistry of the plants, and the sun absorbed in the soil and the water.
And then you have to water it.
Yes. Yeah, so there's a great thing in terms of our climate, cooling things down for us, and it creates these urban oases. And they show that it brings the wildlife back. This is in an urban center on the bus stops.
Like a city street, huh?
Yeah, it brings the wildlife back. And one of the things that it's shown to do is to create safe havens for bees. So we have a concern about our bees dying. And this is shown, and they'll monitor them as maps, because imagine a bus line goes down avenues, and usually downtown city center has different routes, and they can see along the routes the movement of the bees along the bus stops. So they become these pathways for the bees. And so that's an amazing thing. I hadn't thought of that until really cool. I read this article. And they said that Boston estimates that if every one of its 8,000 bus stops had a green roof, the total green space would equal 17 acres, about the size of 13 football fields. And that's amazing. And I thought of one of the trips for one of your gigs, we were in Chicago. And I remember we were walking down one of the main streets in Chicago, and it was lined in the center and on the sidewalks with these huge tulip beds and flower beds, massive packed flower beds that brought such color and such beauty and beautiful energy to this urban center. Remember how we stopped and just marveled at it?
Chicago is a beautiful city, and downtown by the park where they have that beam that has the mirrored finish, and they have they turned that into a venue. Pearl Jam was playing there. They were actually setting up
Wow.
We were there for another reason, and we had a gig in town in a club, and Pearl Jam was playing the next day, and they were setting up in the park. I digress.
You digress, but I remember that Chicago was beautiful, and the flower. I hope they still do it. I hope it's an annual thing. But I was blown away at the amount of flowers and bright, vivid colors, and what that did to my mood and my sense of peace and relaxation in the middle of a busy city.
I think that people who are riding buses could probably use a little bit of that relaxation and softness in their lives.
And that's one of the things it said was that normal living roofs, they're way up high and people don't see them. So when they put them on the bus shelters, people on the buses and on the streets, it's almost eye level, they can see them, and that's what made me think of Chicago. Yeah. I just had this vision of, it's the middle of the day and we're walking by school playgrounds and schools, and there isn't any of that buzz and energy of cell phones. Everyone's just at peace and connecting and happy. And then everyone's eating healthy, wonderful food.
The kids are at lunch and then they're eating great
Everything's
food.
Healthy, and the energy around the food, and vibrationally it's high. And then you look at the street and it's full of flowers and green bus stops and rooftops. Like, what a really beautiful picture that would be.
Oh, no, it's like, and it's possible.
Yes, absolutely possible.
And part of that possibility is finding alternative power sources for, our power sources can be polluting and noisy, and, they're necessary, and it's all we've got right now. But there's a new way of generating power that Japan is working on. Japan's first osmotic power plant shows how salt and fresh water can fuel renewable energy. Now, this is a process where they'll take salt water and fresh water and separate it by a membrane that allows the fresh water to go into the salt water side, and that action, which is a natural action because the fresh water gets attracted to the salt water, so such that the fresh water will attract to the salt water, and it'll pass through these membranes, and that action gets turned into pressure. The pressure builds in the saltwater side and decreases in the freshwater side, and that pressure is released into a turbine that generates electricity.
Fascinating. I'd never heard of this before.
I'd never heard of it before either. I'm sure it's probably commonplace to a lot of people who are more intelligent on that subject, but this is a power system that can run 24/7. It doesn't have any limitations on when or how it can be done. It's still in the infant stages now, though, and the results are promising, but not practical. I think they've generated enough power to power 200 homes or something in this test city in Japan.
Well, that's in addition, I believe, to utilizing this power, utilizing the power generated by water to desalinate the ocean water that they're bringing in and using for drinking water. So the water is generating the power to desalinate the water for drinking, and I sort of like that.
Yeah, that's if they could get that working where it didn't have any net waste.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Yeah, that'd be a miracle. It's like let's watch that one for the future and see where it goes. It's very promising.
Yeah. And I think they said there actually was one a few years ago in Denmark, the Nordic countries, Denmark again, Netherlands, Norway. It's always these, Sweden. I think it said Denmark. Yeah. So there was one in Denmark, but this one is bigger, I believe, in Japan, and Japan's really putting a lot of time and energy into this. I thought it was really exciting, and the whole membrane concept, as you described, is really interesting.
Well, it says here in this article that Norway, South Korea, Spain, Qatar, and Sydney have all worked on it. Some of the momentum was lost during the pandemic.
Osmotic power plant. I was really surprised that I had not heard of this before.
Yeah, I know. It's good news, huh?
Very good news. Well, there is our good news of the day. Are we done? Was that it?
Yeah. I guess that's it.
Okay.
There's
Good
probably
news.
other good news out there.
And we'll bring it to you.
We haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I do want to say this. We take our good news from an amazing magazine that's online now. It used to be a print magazine. And it's called The Optimist. And I get their newsletter. And every day, just about, I get positive news. There'll be at least one story, if not more, of the good stuff happening in the world. And everything they talk about is good stuff from all around the world, different approaches to living. And it focuses on things we don't typically hear about. And so it's great to get their email, their newsletter in my box, because it makes me feel good when I read these things and know that there are amazing people in the world doing amazing things, and not only the stuff we see creating fear and stress in our lives, but when you read this good stuff, it makes me excited. I'm excited to be human, excited to be alive, excited for my brothers and sisters out there doing good work in the world.
Yeah, it's not all bad.
No.
Yeah, which is good to know.
Yeah. So, it leads us to, are we ready?
Yeah.
I wanted to take 5 minutes while we're in a good space to lead us through a 5-minute exercise with 5 parts, 1 minute for each part, as an example of how we can focus inside to our spiritual, to our calm, to our inner being so quickly and easily, and that it shifts our consciousness and our awareness to a place where we are able to embrace life very openly, consciously, in the moment. So much of our lives we're busy and running around or listening to bad news, and we attach to these things in our lives, our work, our job, even our families, as a source of happiness or meaning or peace. And even though any one of those things can give us peace or bring us meaning, when we are not connected to ourselves and a higher aspect and a higher meaning, our lives can be pretty much very unconscious, and we live them as if we're asleep, and we live them as if we're going to live our lives tomorrow, when the bills are paid, when the promotion happens, when something arrives or something's done, or there's always a reason why we are going to live our lives later. And it's amazing to me. We want change, or we want things in our lives. And so it's, think about it next week. I'll go there next month. Or, always an oh. So this is a 5-minute exercise of bringing life here, right here, into our being and being present and calm. So get comfortable with me. Well, don't have to get comfortable with me, but get comfortable right now in your chair. Sit back and relax a little bit while I lead you through this exercise. So this one is called the grounding breath. 1 minute. I want you to sit with your eyes closed if you'd like. And I want you to breathe, inhaling, exhale, slowly. So inhale, exhale slowly. And as you are inhaling, I want you to say to yourself, I am here. I am here. And as you exhale, I want you to say, I let go. I am here. I let go. And we're going to do this just for 1 minute. I'll actually time it. So ready? You're going to sit. You're going to do about 5 breaths. Inhale, I am here. And exhale, I let go. Go. So remember, inhaling, I am here. And exhaling, I let go. So that's 1 minute. And I imagine if you did do that with me, you already feel relaxed and more present. So the next minute, and this can be a daily ritual, the next minute is the body scan. For 1 minute, I want you to scan your body while you're breathing in a relaxed way. I want you to start at your feet and then work your way up to your head. And I want you to notice, with no judgment, the temperature, if there's any tension, if there's any tingling, any tightness. I don't want you to change anything. I want this to be just observation. It's like a meditation in your body. So I'm going to lead you to the body parts, but on your own, when you do this, you can lead yourself. So starting with your feet, be aware of your feet, temperature, tingling. How do they feel? Don't change it, just observe it. Move up to your calves. How are your calves? Hot? Tight? Just observe it. Your knees. How are your knees? Are you holding energy in your knees? Just be aware. Don't change it. Your chest, your pelvic area. Go up through those. Are they tight? You're holding energy there. How's your breathing? Shallow? Deep? Your neck, your throat. How's your throat? The tight? Just observe. And now your head, your eyes, top of your head, your ears. Are they cold? Are they hot? Tingly? Don't change it. Just observe. Be aware. Don't change it. Just be aware. And now I want you to open your eyes and just follow along with this instruction. I want you to focus on one object in the room. It could be something intentional or wherever your eyes take you. And I want you to observe the way an infant would. An infant who doesn't understand what they're looking at. I want you to observe this object. No judgment. Don't even label. Just notice its shape. Start now. Find that object and fixate on it. Notice its shape. Notice its color. Notice its texture. No judgment about whether you like them or not, just notice. Are there shadows? Is it close? Is it far? See this object as if it's the very first time you are seeing it and have no idea what it is. You're just observing it. Color, texture, size, form, shadows, light. For the first time you are seeing this. Now exhale. Let that go. Now I want you to take a sip of water, and if you don't have water or something, just touch your hands. Feel the sensation of your hands and notice the body temperature. And if you can drink a sip of water or a liquid or coffee, then do that. And I want you to focus on the moment where you touch your hands or whether the water goes down your throat. And again, notice the temperature, the sensation of the water moving down your throat, slowly into your body. Don't just gulp it down. This is full awareness. And if it's your hands, because you don't have something to drink right now, just touch your hands and notice soft, rough, cold, as if this sensation is the first time you're feeling this. So play with that for a minute, and if you have something to drink, take that sip and experience the sensation temperature, texture of this liquid going into your body and follow it down. Just total awareness. Remembering to breathe. And that's a minute. The last minute, I want you to put your hand over your heart. And I want you to find one thing right now that you are grateful for. It could be as small as, I have a house that I'm sitting in, or work went well, anything in your life that you are grateful for. I want you to breathe it into you, that good feeling of gratitude. And let that feeling of gratitude expand into your body and into your breath, and just feel that sensation in every cell of your being. So take that gratitude in right now and feel every bit of it. That's 1 minute. 5-minute exercise. Check into how you feel right now. Your breathing, your body that you scanned. Be aware you're in this body. We are in this body. It's an aspect of our being. It's not all of us. And bring full consciousness to this moment of life. The sip of water going down our throat. When do we stop and do that? Hardly ever. The breath coming in our lungs, what our eyes just fell upon, what the sensation is of touching, being. And research shows that gratitude lowers our heart rate, has impact on the immune system, not even thinking of the endorphins in the body that are effective. So just having gratitude, not here, but bringing the feeling in to our bodies, has amazing transformational qualities. So if you just do this 5-minute, and it literally will only be 5 minutes when you do it alone, grounding breath, a body scan, a mindful observation, drinking that water or fluid and feeling it fill you, and then a moment of gratitude with your hands over your heart, you will have a daily transformational practice that will help you remember that life is right here, right now, not out there. That's just what we do. But right here, right now. And I'd love to hear how this 5-minute exercise helps you, or not, and just some feedback on it. But I do strongly suggest 5 minutes. Who can't give 5 minutes? Stop scrolling our phones for 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes out of your day and do this. My suggestion. So there's the good news and the good practice.
Thank you for that, Wind.
Yeah. Did you relax?
I did. It was very wonderful. I think gratitude is one of those things, when you experience gratitude in your heart, it's one of the things that really puts you in the moment of where you are right now. Gratitude is something that you can't conceptualize, you feel it. And it has to be in the moment. Mm-hmm. And it is transformative.
It is.
To allow that to. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. In case you have difficulty staying in focus. It can be difficult. Even taking a breath. Mm-hmm. Take a breath and try to do 10 of them without starting to think of something else. It's a challenge.
Well, then it becomes a meditation, right? So you take your breath, and all of these require presence, right? That's the intention. And then you find yourself wandering, and you just go grab yourself, like your thoughts, and bring yourself back. Pretty simple. No judgment. No, oh, damn, there I am again. You just, life is meant to be joyous. We're meant to be present here in the full embodied being that we are. So if you wander, right, you just, grab yourself, bring yourself back, and here you are.
Yeah, and don't be hard on yourself about it.
Well, I enjoyed that. I feel so much more relaxed.
I feel great.
Yeah. I hope you do too. And we enjoyed being here, sharing the good news.
Yeah. Good news.
With you. Hope you liked it too. Give us feedback. We love your feedback.
Hit subscribe.
Hit subscribe.
Make some comments.
Comments are great.
Shoot us an email
Yeah.
with your cat pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Other ideas that you want to see us try.
Yeah. And if you liked the good news, doing this sort of thing with us too. So I guess we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay. So we'll see you next time.
Next time.